Ladies and gentlemen, it is once again time to get the snowblower fired up, this time for the 2024-2025 winter season. The last 2 years, I went and I got this thing out, I gassed it up, got everything ready to go, and didn't use it at all. I think last year we had a couple of bouts of snow. It was nothing more than like an inch or two. Wasn't really a big deal. So this year, unfortunately, our luck seems to have run out. Next week, we are going to be getting 2 to 3 inches, followed by another 2 to 3 inches, followed by another 2 to 3 inches a couple days later. How it all is going to pan out, I don't know. This is now either the 9th or the 10th season. I don't remember exactly. So I've had it for 9 or 10 years. Except for one problem, which was a loose belt that I tightened. It has been absolutely flawless. I've had people try to tell me, oh, these things are, they're great for a couple of years, but then they rust out. Well, there's some dirt on it, but it's still red inside, and that ain't rust red, it's paint. The things that are rusty are the skid shoes down over here, but that is to be expected because they scrape the ground. So any paint that's on them on the bottom obviously gets scraped off and it rusts. They are consumable items. So I really have had no trouble with this unit whatsoever. Full, dusty, dirty, all kinds of stuff like that. I think the primer bulb has stopped working, and the last couple of years that I've tried to prime it, I used to be able to prime it till gas started puking out of the carbonator, but it doesn't do that kind anymore. We'll play the game and prime it anyway. Not that it matters, because I don't think it works, but it seems to start nonetheless. I am going to electric start it, but I will roll it over by hand a couple times first. In fact, we can do that now, but before we actually do that, the first thing is to take a look at the Earl, because without that, you kind of don't want to roll it over. If you roll it slow, you should be all right, but as far as this goes, it is certainly well within spec. It's about 3/4 full, and I would not be surprised to learn that this engine burns a little bit of oil, because they all do. It's just how they're made, where they're made, and what it is. It's a cardboard falling over engine. It's a Chanda, as they call it, a Chinese Honda clone. They've been pretty good. They got enough power, they got everything. So I really have had no trouble with it, short of the loose belt, which, like I said, I fixed myself, and the primer bulb, but that doesn't seem to be a problem. The oil is good, so that's a start. So what we can do now is roll the engine over. So I'm not turning any switches on or doing anything at all whatsoever. Although it might be wise to put fuel in first and turn the fuel on, and maybe those couple of strokes will help it. We're just going to ignore that, and we're just going to pull on the rope and see if the engine is stuck, seized, or any other great stuff. Nope, pulls just fine. Plenty of compression. Oh yeah, she's got plenty of compression. I got my elbows hurting today, so it's hard to pull. But yeah, she's got plenty of compression, so everything's good. So I got some gas. I don't have much gas, but it should be enough to get it started. There's a shake or two. Probably more than plenty enough. Probably enough for that first week of snowfall. What the rest of the winter will bring, I don't know. I ran it out of fuel in the spring, as I do every year. All over again. just yet. There's still a shake or two in there, so let's see if that's enough. I'd imagine it is. Put the gas cap back. Yep. All right, let me get the cardboard out of here and get a cord. One other thing I think I'll mention, just because it's going to be hard to hear me once the engine is started, is I don't have enough room in the driveway to test this, and it's going forward, go backwards machine. So we're going to do that out on the sidewalk, and the only reason the car is this way is because that's how I normally park it. When there's snow, I park it more to the left, so there's a much bigger swath here. And I'm actually taking the car out tomorrow, so there's no sense in moving it today because it's going to be moved tomorrow anyway. And I'll park it in accordance with possible snowfall. It's going to roll. It's going to need air in the tires first before we actually start it. I usually use this thing, and I'm going to try to this year again. Last year, it didn't seem to want to go, and I found that this was not tightened all the way in. That is as tight as I can make it. So if it doesn't really want to work this year, it's done. What this was and all that, I don't remember, but there is a link in the prescription. It's older because it's only got a micro USB instead of USB-C, but that really doesn't even make a difference much. It doesn't charge as fast, but then again, you know, here we are. I didn't like how that went on. Let's try it again. That's better. There. Alright, so that's nice and tight. This is nice and tight. We'll power it on. Something loosened somewhere. I think at the... yeah. Alright, it's just going to be crooked because that's how it wants to be. It's on. And it's still set to 26 pounds, which is where I leave it. And it says we got 13 and a half. So, let's see. Went down to 12 and a half. They're never accurate, so... it kind of sounds like it's freewheeling, but it did go up for a second to 13.5. Let's just give it another minute here and see if it increases more. If so, I guess it'll probably work. This is not meant to be a nice unit. You know, it's small, but it's good for its size to the tire, you know? Alright, now it's 13. I don't know. We'll wait and see. Well, I'll be dipped. If you watch Vice Grip Garage, you hear him say that all the time. Did you know that's actually short for something? It actually is. It's actually short for I'll be dipped in shit. That's correct. That's what the phrase is. But she indeed did fill it to 26. It's still actually got some chooch in it. So maybe it'll fill up the other tire. It was showing 3/4 battery. Let's see what it reads now. Probably half or a quarter. Yeah, about a quarter. It'll probably crap out on the other one. I mean, this thing ain't getting any newer, so I'll see if we can fill that up. If not, it'll just be a little lopsided. Okay, we are off. Here we go. Let's see if it's going to start up. I expect it will. Ran fine. The one time I started it, 2 times I started it last year. So that's all good. We got to turn the fuel on. Come around here. We got to turn the switch on. Focus to start. And we'll prime. Not that it does anything, but we'll give it a shot. It feels like the hoses are connected. So I think it's just shot. Hey, it worked this year. It actually puked gas out of the carbonator. Wow. I heard it on the first press. That was really something. Wow. Well, all other things being a go, this ought to fire right up. I can't imagine why not. All right. Here we go. Rather on the Bluick. Almost no cranking at all. Fired right up. Beautiful. Of course, it is only 50 degrees out, which is a lot warmer than it would be with snow. But even so, and it's primed. I mean, a little prime for a good time? Oh yeah. All right, let's go test it out. I'm going to take it to the sidewalk. Turn off the switch. Gas, of course, is off because I shut that off. We didn't test the auger. Mechanical, it just plain works. When I bought this machine years ago, I had never heard of PowerSmart before. But it so turns out that it's actually pretty decent. In more recent times, they had sent me actually three other products. One was a generator that I gave away to a friend, and that needs a new carbonator on it because it was left with fuel in it, even though I told them not to. But yeah, so that needs a new carbonator. But other than that, it ran. That was also damaged in shipment. So, you know, I mean, that happens. It's not in the greatest cosmetic condition, but hey, it runs, or at least it did. I'll get it fixed up one day for him. But anyways, that they did send me, and I'll leave a link in the prescription to that, an electric battery-powered snowblower. I didn't have snow at the time they sent that, but subsequently we actually did have about about yay much. We'll call it a good solid 2 inches. Ooh, big deal, right? I made it down the driveway and down the sidewalk to the end of the property, and then up the walkway, and it died. And I was very judicious about using power on that thing. As soon as I didn't need it, immediately I would let go and it would shut off. You people with your battery-powered bullshit and all these fake videos on YouTube. Oh my God, I got so many government credits for switching to electric. Fuck you, it's a sponsored video. Because we never see your shed after that with your gas one anymore. Or if you're trading it in, you paid the guy to stand there and smile and nod as he accepts your old machine. I don't buy it. That thing was brand new and had a pretty powerful battery. I don't remember what it was right now. But it could just barely handle this. This being a post-World War II, mid-1950s house on a lot that is 70 by 110. It could barely make it, and I still had to shovel out as it was. So, nuh-uh on that. I still have it, and I keep thinking maybe I might, it might be useful, but I just can't fathom what to do with it. Junk as far as I'm concerned, but that's not to say that everything else is junk either. They also subsequently sent me a nice gas snowblower. Very similar to this, but this being a 24-inch and that one being a 26-inch. So they made it a little wider, but also a little shorter. They cut out a couple of nice things that I like about this one. There's no ignition switch that you have to turn on. You have to pull the key out of it, the plastic key out of it, in order to stall the engine. And as far as a fuel shutoff, geez, I just can't remember at this point, but it was lacking like a couple of nice things that I liked. And it just, they cheaped out, is basically what it is. But if I had to buy a machine today, I'd still probably go for that. Like I said, when I bought this years ago, I didn't know who PowerSmart was. All I knew was I needed a snowblower. The story goes, my dad had a snowblower and he said, yeah, I got one for you. And then I said, okay, so about that snowblower. And he says, well, what happens if it snows and I need it? I said, but you said you were giving it to me. So he kept it and I was on the hook for just, I need a snowblower now. So I just bought. And because I wasn't prepared to buy, I bought more based on price, but based on price due to the job at hand. You never buy based on price because it's cheap. You can buy a cheaper model that will get the job done. This certainly has more than plenty enough power for this house and probably one with a lot 2 or even 3 times the size. And snow, we've had snow over the top of the auger and it's chugged right through it. It was in labor, but it moved and it threw that snow all the way through. So this is more than plenty enough machine. And there's other brands out there. Some people say, well, buy a Honda, it'll run forever. By the time I pay a Honda price, I could buy a Chanda for 1/5 the price and buy 5 of them and still be money ahead. You see? So I bought the lowest price machine in a machine that would work for the job at hand. And I also oversized the machine pretty much because anything smaller, just like, these are toys, you know? These are toys. I want to go out in the snow and play with my little big boy toys, you know? No, I wanted a man's fucking snowblower. And that is what I got here. It certainly did the job. It did the job well. It has over all the last years. But, you know, the funny part about it is we're getting like 2 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches. I could still shovel. And that's not a lot to shovel, and it really doesn't take that long. So the one thing I will say is that it's actually maybe a little oversized for the smaller snow. The battery-powered one is undersized for any snow, so that's not really an option, but this is really like, it's a big, cumbersome, you know, machine that you got to handle and push all around. Yeah, it's self-propelled and all that, but still, it's a big machine you got to lug around. And sometimes with the snow, especially if it's that light, fluffy stuff and not the real heavy, wet stuff, and it's this much even, just shovel it. It's not even worth getting the machine out. Anyway, the good news is it is fully operational once again for the 2024-2025 winter season. I don't know if this was 9 or 10. We'll find out somewhere eventually. But yeah, so check the links in the prescription for videos on the other 2 snowblowers and that generator. I think I did one on. Yeah, I think I did. And that little tire inflator, which amazingly is still barely hanging on to life. Yep, it's all there. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and hopefully, for the 3rd year in a row, I won't really need to use this machine again. I'd rather that it just be ready to go. As the saying goes, I'd rather have and not need than need and not have. Like I said, the snow isn't falling for another week or so. The weather's beautiful today. Today's the right day to do it. Absolutely. So I don't have to stand out here in the cold and all that. And I am prepared in the event that it's a big, big storm. So always be prepared. Another thing I ought to do is get some more fuel, but I'll be going out within the next week or 2. Or week, I should say, and I'll get fuel. Anyway, that's going to do it. Thanks again. Like, subscribe. Ring the bell for Arby's, because they like that. And take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.